All right, welcome to the Krug Show. After that scintillating Cowboys-Raiders Monday Nighter, man, the Raiders are looking good. Sorry, Raider fans. I mean, they looked bad, really bad. But we're going to talk some Niners. They got the win. That's good. The defense looked really bad. We'll get into it. What can we expect to see from the 49ers ahead? We'll get into it right now. Let's go. Off and running Monday night after the Monday Nighter. Dieter is in the house. Welcome to the Krug Show. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. They're fantastic. They've got 2 locations right now, but a third on the way. That's right. 2 locations. They're in Corte Madera. They're in Emeryville, but they are opening a third location in Petaluma. That's right. Pig and a Pickle is expanding a third location. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. And there are 2 locations currently. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out, so get there early. Get some brisket chili. Tell them Krug sent you. We're going to be there, by the way. And Dieter, you're more than welcome to stop by, be my guest. We're going to do a meet and greet for the Krug Show from Pig and a Pickle. Yeah, it's a meet and greet, MEAT, greet and greet. But we're going to stop off during the bye week, week 14, so nice. December 7th. And, you know, it's a beautiful, fantastic little mall. It's an outdoor mall. The Corte Madera Mall is probably one of the best in the Bay Area. I mean, it's really good. It's a good one, yeah. And it's right there in the absolute Christmas shopping, you know, right there in the sweet spot, right? December 7th. That's a big weekend for a lot of people to Christmas shop. So, hey, stop by, maybe bring the wife or kids, maybe go Christmas shopping. It's kind of an open house. We're just going to eat some barbecue, very informal. We're going to watch some games. You're more than welcome to stop by and say hello. Should be great. And we're all looking forward to helping out our sponsor, Pig and a Pickle, as they open their third location in Petaluma at some point in the future. But let's just get right into, and of course, we're brought to you by Sleeper. We're brought to you by Habbas Law. We'll tell you about them in a bit. But let's get into the game. The Niners got a convincing win over a Cardinal team that looked really bad. 17 penalties, 3 turnovers. They said, "Hey, Raiders, you know, you think you're bad? We can do bad too." Yeah. So why don't you give me your what's your most positive and most negative takeaway from the Niners' very one-sided win in the desert?
I loved what I saw from Purdy. I know that the stat line won't show some, superior quarterback play, but I just thought that he was in total control of everything. We had been advocating that in the time that he was off the field, that he could maybe take some stock of the way that he had been playing over the prior, 20 games, and maybe take some of the lessons from Mac Jones and integrate that into his game. And on the first throw of the game, just throws it away. Just listen, I'm going to live to fight another down. And he did that a couple of times.
I actually thought for a second.
I'm with you. I know where you're at.
Oh my God.
Yep.
He airmailed that by a ton, but then
that's exactly what I thought. I wrote it down.
Said,
and
no,
then
Dad, that was intentional.
Well, and there were a couple where they're right on the line, but that's, I guess, a good throwaway where it's not so plainly obvious that it's a throwaway. We'll give him benefit of the doubt on all of them, but I'm with you. First one, I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's overthrowing him already. But I just thought that he was fantastic, and I don't think there's a better example of Brock Purdy being in full control of the 49ers offense and operating it on a way that really no one has done with Kyle Shanahan at the helm, besides Purdy, than him audibling out of what was, I presume, a run play, going from under center into shotgun, completely changing the formation, doing all of that with like 7 seconds left on the play clock, and then dropping.
Saw that obviously some indicator showed him he had cover one. He said that he said, and he didn't even need motion to see the indicator. That's the other thing. He didn't need the trick. He just saw he knew what Arizona was going to be running based on how they lined up,
based on the situation, and it was more or less a gut feel from him, and it was a correct call, and he just dropped in an absolute dime. I listen, I don't want to crap on Mac Jones. He did a very admirable job. He more than helped this team tread water. The reason that they couldn't make the playoffs this year is because of Mac Jones. But if this offense is going to need to score 30 points a game, and I don't think there's a person on this planet who doesn't think that that's the case, they need Brock Purdy operating the way he operated against a just frankly unprofessional operation from Arizona. And I guess that's my negative. Like, Arizona looked like they were trying to get their head coach fired, and they might have done it. I know that they didn't fire him today.
I don't on the hot seat until the game started, but that's the kind of performance that's my thought is exactly like, is Gannon going to last? Because that was the kind of performance that typically would get you fired.
It was egregious. And I know that the argument that they'll make is, well, we had so many injured players. Like, how could we possibly? And they didn't practice early in the week. They missed a practice. They didn't have enough players. So I suppose that is a legitimate argument, but just look at what if the 49ers ever looked that discombobulated, that disjointed. I can go in on, Kendrick Bourne not knowing the plays, or Jawan Jennings going and kind of freelancing a little bit. And heaven knows they've had enough moments this season where a guy who basically got signed off the street has been put out there and kind of doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. But in terms of penalties, and especially pre-snap penalties, just not knowing the plays on a collective basis, not being able to get organized, not being in control of the situation, that was really the difference in the game. One team was in complete control, at least on the offensive end, and felt like it was going to do whatever it wanted. And the other team, even though it has very quality players, and I think that the Cardinals still have very quality players on both sides, looked like they hadn't played football together at any point and were figuring it out on the fly while at home. And the Niners will not, as much as the Niners' schedule is easier than most with Arizona, Carolina. Here comes Cleveland, which is no easy game when you have Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator, but alas. And then Tennessee, while it looks like they will not get it that easy again. They simply will not. And that means that there's going to need to be some more elevation in the game. They're going to have to play even better than they played, because they just will not be given as many opportunities as they were given, starting with the opening kickoff on Sunday. So Niners played extremely well. I think there's a tremendous amount of things to be encouraged by. I do a studs and duds column. I had one dud, and it was a real force-fed Diamador, or it wasn't even Lenore. It was Renardo Green for that stupid penalty. Like, that was it. He was good otherwise. He just had a stupid penalty, and I can't do a game where there's no duds. I thought that everybody played really, really well. And it's just not going to be that easy moving forward, even though the schedule does look easy moving forward.
You thought Pearsall played really well, even though he didn't do anything, or
yeah, he looked just fine on tape. I mean, they bracketed him most of the game, and I do think that a lot of the open receivers down the field, and Brock was really pushing it. I mean, he did a really nice job down the field. A lot of that was made available from Pearsall. And we can rehash the conversations that you and I and so many others had all of last year. When you're playing X receiver, oftentimes you're a sacrificial lamb. And, listen, could it have been better in terms of, whipping out on some routes and stuff? Sure. It looked like he was a little bit tentative. But in terms of running the offense, knowing the offense, I saw nothing from Pearsall to indicate that he's a step or that he won't get to where he needs to be in the coming weeks. And I think George Kittle said it right after the game, like, it's coming. You should have seen him in practice. And that's what I had heard going into the game as well. Like, Purdy was there, Pearsall was there. Both of them had no limitations, and if something were to have popped up, it would have popped up in the game, and by all accounts, neither of them had anything pop up in the game. So we can count on them being as healthy as anyone can be at this juncture in the season for as long as they can stay healthy, which is apparently a very short-term thing for San Francisco 49ers players.
Anytime you win 41-22, it's going to be hard to find a lot of negatives.
Yeah.
But I found a few. Here's what I got as the negatives for the game.
Okay.
Obviously the Renardo Green penalty for roughness. I mean, that obviously cost the Niners a chance to get off the field.
Yeah, that was 3 points.
And Shanahan aired him out. But even so, it's like Shanahan really hates fighting, and he really hates when guys lose their composure and this and that. But it's an emotional game,
Yeah.
and it just it was so that sequence reminded me so much of the NBA game. I mean, it was like I feel like they should have the correct call on the play was offsetting, but they didn't call it offsetting. But then like somebody obviously told the official, "Hey, that should have been offsetting," because the next play they call a penalty against McBride, and I know he had the finger to the nose and, whatever the heck that means. And,
He's
I've
smelling something.
heard a couple different theories as to what that means, but whatever. I mean, it's obviously, it's something, it's a point of emphasis. You saw the official when McBride asked him, "Hey, what the heck did I do?" And the guy made the motion with the thing across the nose and said, "That's what cost you." That to me just reeked of a payback. Like, we blew it. It was supposed to be offsetting. So we're going to do what, we used to do in what NBA officials have done for decades, which is we're just going to make up a call. And it's hard to do in the NFL unless the guy's involved in a key play, but he was involved and he did do something. And so they penalized him for it. But didn't you think that was a makeup?
Yes. It
was very ticky-tack.
It was definitely ticky-tack. I will say I've seen other guys get called for it. Like it's not the first part. He's not the first person. Like early in the season, guys were getting called for it left, right, and center to the point where you just don't see it anymore. And then McBride,
for that
I guess,
gesture, you mean?
Yeah, for that specific gesture, because that was like all the rage last year, and the NFL did send out a memo amongst other gestures. Hey, like we're not doing this. This is considered taunting. Mainly, let's be honest, because they don't want a bunch of 50-year-old white guys trying to figure out what that means. Which
or maybe they don't want the youth. They don't want college and high school kids copying these guys.
Well, and they did. And that's the problem. You watch the college game. Holy crap. It was just everybody's wiping their nose. And the initial argument is you're wiping your nose. Oh, you're so sick, you got to wipe your nose. It looks like you're, let's say testing the gauge of a cigar. Let's put it that way. You're enjoying the,
I was told that
afterburn.
It's like stink finger, and like it's basically one guy. It's like calling you a puss.
It's that too. Yeah.
Which is pretty vulgar. Whatever. I mean, the NFL needs. I mean, whatever. I mean,
it's whatever. Really, if he hadn't have done that, I mean, it's just it is letter of the law. Yeah. Might they have overlooked it had they weren't looking directly at him, looking for a makeup? Probably, but he can't plead innocence on that. He did the thing, and other people have been called.
So I mean, so obviously that was
obviously the big takeaway of the game, right?
Not a good penalty. Not a good penalty there. Watching Dortch get a long return on special teams, that obviously wasn't good.
Yeah.
The Bam Knight touchdown run in the first quarter was way too freaking easy. I mean, he went in untouched.
Correct.
I mean, anytime a running back goes in for a running touchdown and untouched, it's just a horrible look.
Yep.
And then, Upton Stout got the PI call that I thought was really a bad call, the ticky-tack call on Michael Wilson on that deep ball in the first quarter, the big bomb down the field. Stout got a PI call for pulling the guy's arm, but I thought it was absolutely clean. I really didn't think it was. I mean, it was, yes, were there's hand fighting? Was there some physicality there? Yeah, but I didn't think that went to the level of PI there, but it got called.
Right.
The Pinheiro blocked, PAT, and then he was thrown to the turf pretty violently. But he had two, he missed a PAT and he had one blocked. Those were bad plays. But I had to say, the biggest negative to me in this game was that Cardinal running backs, and they weren't good running backs, but the Cardinals running backs got through the 49ers defensive line with ease and with regularity. And to watch Bam Knight score that touchdown untouched, it really was just par for the course because running backs, I mean, I think Jordan Elliott's had a pretty good year this year, but I thought he had a lousy game. When I watched it again, it seemed like 3 times I saw the running back just get right through the line of scrimmage. They were running in his gap, and he was nowhere to be found within it. So I just think that, what the Niners have a bad defense. largely because of injury. But their defensive line is the start of it, and they don't get a lot of pressure, but they're also not stopping the run. They're not getting a lot done up front, and I think their tackle play in this game against the run, but from numerous games as far as they're not getting any pass rush inside at all.
No.
Which the loss of Yatir Gross-Matos, he was leading the league in pressure rate at the defensive tackle spot. I don't know if people knew that, but and then losing Mikel and Yatir Gross-Matos, huge losses. I mean, the loss of Warner obviously is huge. The loss of Bosa is obviously huge, but I don't know that people realized how big the losses of Gross-Matos and Mikel were, because they have absolutely nothing as far as pass rush in the middle, and they're not stopping the run inside, to the point where I was like, maybe we ought to see Evan Anderson, because Anderson, at least we know, can play the run. He can't do much else, but he can play the run. I thought their defensive line was bad. I mean, no impact as in the rush, not very much impact against the rush. They didn't put out pass rush, but they didn't stop the run. I mean, that's a wrap right there. That I thought that 49er defensive line in this game was bad, especially against the run. I mean, especially when you factor in Arizona doesn't have good runners, and yet, I mean, look at what happened in this game.
I kind of like some of their running backs.
Okay, Dermicado, though, is not there's no shiftiness
there. He's a scat back.
But I mean, he's power, the 1.6 a carry. He didn't do much. Carter ran for 3 yards a carry. He didn't do much. Bam Knight ran, though, for 4.8 a carry. Yeah, and they didn't run it that many times. They only ran it 14 times. But the Niners didn't look like they could stop the run. I mean, the running backs got to that second level pretty much with ease.
Yeah, I'll say that I actually really liked what I saw from Alfred Collins and C.J. West in this game. Mm-hmm. There were a couple times where the Cardinals
made some nice plays.
Tried to run duo right at that pairing, and they did a really nice job. I think we also have to remember sort of what the mandate of that defensive line is. I agree with you. They're not getting any pass rush pressure. I didn't expect them to. That's going to be bog standard for them. Like, that's par for the course now. I think the best that they can do is get their hands up, because they ain't getting home. They're just not getting home, and they won't get home. Interior pass rush hasn't existed really all year. I know that, Yetur Gross-Matos leads, but he was a third down guy that they were throwing on the inside on a line with Huff, Bosa, and Williams. Like,
Kalia got one hit on the quarterback in the first half. That was it. That was the only hit they had from the defensive tackles all day.
I will say that the defensive tackle's job is to clear space for the linebackers. And what I saw in this game was, Curtis Robinson is expected. I saw Tatum Bethune be really tentative. And
he's hurt. Badly hurt.
Now he's hurt. But
but he was, I mean, dude, he just stood at practice this week. I mean, I don't know that I saw him do anything at practice. Like, he looked bad all week.
I thought Winters was fine, but Winters isn't that point of attack guy. He's usually out on the flat because of the way Arizona runs their offensive scheme, which is they only throw it to the flat. It's a little bit better now, but Trey McBride is in the flat. That's D. Winters' guy, so he's out of it. So you really have, in the case of a big nickel, Pinnock playing Sam. They did play Martin a bit as a Sam. They played Gifford late in the game as a Sam and a Mike. And then, Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa were trying to fill. They both did a terrible job. They were both really quite bad yesterday, at least from my vantage point. And then
who's that? Pinnock, Brown and who?
And Malik Mustafa. Malik Mustafa is the reason that touchdown went in so easily. I mean, it funnels outside, funnels outside, funnels outside, and Malik Mustafa is like, what if I just run into this offensive lineman instead of going for the guy with the ball? Like, it was as if he was looking for a hug, is how he engaged on that.
Well,
and
they were Saleh uses the phrase catching blocks. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
They looked like they were just getting to that next level and just catching blocks. Didn't it seem like that? I mean, there was a couple. Yeah. I mean, that's what I thought on that play.
On that drive, they had. I actually thought, and again, this is such nitpicking, but I agree with you in principle. They're not getting home, and they really can't stop the run. question is, whose fault is it? And I think everyone wears the blame, but I'm a little bit more focused on the linebackers and the secondary and the run fills than I am with the front guys as it stands currently. It's not to say that those guys have been doing a great job, but it does feel like when they make a play, the guys behind them don't. And the guys behind them aren't making plays, certainly to cover up when the guys up front aren't making plays. So um, on that play in particular, the plays that had been preceding it, they had been running up the middle and really going directly at Bethune, and Bethune just was getting knocked back 4 yards every time. I mean, yeah, he was making the tackle, but at what cost? A bunch of yards in the process. He wasn't coming down, hitting in the hole. He was waiting for the guy to come through the hole, which was there. And, it's like, I guess they can't allow holes to be made anymore. And then he would latch on, slow him down so that everyone could gang tackle. And they did that like 2 or 3 times preceding the touchdown. The Niners then commit more guys into the box and particularly into the A and B gaps on that play that ended up being the touchdown. They run an outside. I don't think it was a sweep. I think it was just a regular outside zone play. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It was power and a pin and pull. And they get to the outside, and then it was, hey, safeties, can you make a play? And the answer was no. And that was pretty much the standard for the rest of the game. It's not a very talented defense, or at least it's not an actualized defense when it comes to talent. But I kind of like where they're at on the interior of the defensive line in terms of giving these guys reps and seeing West get some run, because they had him up in the press box a couple weeks ago, and maybe that helped him. I mean, I'll ask him tomorrow or on Wednesday, but he looked good. And Collins, I mean, George Kittle shouting him out after the game. He's looked good. There's something there. And instead of seeing Kalia Davis, who generally doesn't look great, he'll give you 1 or 2 flash plays and then a whole bunch of, Jesus Christ, what was that? Instead of seeing that, let's see these young guys in the fire, and let's see what they can do here. And I kind of like the trajectory as it goes forward. I think it's ironic because at the beginning of the season, the expectation of this team was that the offense would come out guns blazing, put 30 points on the board, and would cover the defense's ass until the young guys kind of had enough time and enough pelts on the wall to kind of say that, hey, we got to figure it out. And around this time, then, hey, the defense can come through, and maybe we can give a little something on offense, and the defense can take on more of the weight. And in fact, the exact opposite happened with this team. The offense was the one that was struggling. The defense was the one that was carrying them to wins. And now, when everybody's injured on defense, they have all of these young guys who didn't get enough run, I would argue, early in the season, be it because of injury or because Robert Saleh kind of forgot the mandate of the campaign and freaked out and started putting in veterans where rookies would have done. And now this defense, I guess maybe they have enough time to figure it all out, but it just kind of went against the original game plan, and it actually inverted it. And if nothing else, I find that a bit funny, given the circumstances, amid some pretty tragic circumstances for this 49ers team. But I'm keeping an eye on Collins and West. I would like to see more of them. I think they deserve more playing time. And while I agree with you on principle that this defensive line is in rough shape and that this defense in general is in even worse shape than that, at least there's some upside with those guys. And you give me 4 or 5 more games, and I'd like to see where that leaves this 49ers defense.
Yeah, I mean, Collins did not even show up in the stat column. He didn't do anything
he was double teamed almost every play. It was wonderful. He had a really nice game.
CJ West, on the other hand, I mean, I never understood why they were playing Givens over CJ West. I mean, yeah. Givens is a one-dimensional pass rusher who doesn't give you any rush. So I mean, he
where's the evidence that he's a pass rusher?
I mean, but he's not a good run defender. He gets washed out really easily. So it's like one guy is not great in anything, was a good pass rusher, and now is just not getting much done. And the other guy has a bright future. I mean, CJ West is going to play in a number of years in the NFL, I would think, with the Niners. And he's stronger against the run. Shanahan said, hey, we wanted a run defender, and they went with West. As far as positives, I mean, I thought Purdy looked really, really good. I thought Barch looked really good in the middle. I thought they ran behind Barch 3 or 4 times, and he had a couple of really nice blocks. So that was good. I really liked what I saw from Curtis Robinson when he came on in the second quarter. I mean, the rest of the game, I mean, that was Curtis Robinson's greatest game. I mean,
They
greatest
didn't
game of
lose
his
anything.
life. I mean,
You could argue that they were better at middle linebacker with Robinson than whatever Bethune was giving them in that game. Now, I don't want
Bethune should have sat out. I mean, Bethune is hurt. I mean, he was clearly hurt. I mean, it's funny. They listed these guys as limited at practice, and Winters was one, and Bethune was one. But then I'm at practice, and I'm like looking at Winters. He's going through all the drills, and he looks pretty good. He looks kind of the same as he's always looked. I looked at Bethune. He's standing 5 feet away from the drill, just standing there. Yeah. And it's like, and you could tell he sat out reps in practice, and it's like, this guy doesn't feel right. He's just out here because he's out here in name, but he doesn't feel right. And you could tell. And now obviously you got into the game, and as soon as there was a few hits, all of a sudden he was down. He was, I mean, he was dangling by a thread going into that game, and then just couldn't make it out. But Robinson played well. I thought Winters played really well. I thought this was one of Winters' best games. He was flying around. He was making plays. That huge hit that he had, one of the early hits in the game, I thought was a tremendous. He smoked Trey McBride, pancaked him on that second down play on the first drive. Just absolute pancake. So I love that. The other one I loved is, I walked up to Sky Moore in the week, and I don't know if you were there that day, but I was telling him at his locker, I was fooling with him. I'm like, hey, man, I go, I love how hard you take it up the field. I go,
we talked about that, yeah.
You're going to get blown up. And he's like, I do get blown up. And he's like, and he's kind of laughing about it. And then I was like, yeah, but dude, I admire the toughness because, I mean, there's no fear, man. He's like, this is the only way I know how to play. And then I said to him, I said, hey, man, I watched the All-22 the last 3 weeks on your returns, and there's at least 2 returns in there out of the last 4 or 5 that were this close to a house call. And he's like, I know, man. He's like, I'm close to busting one. I'm really close. I go, I know you are. And it's funny, Corey came over. I wasn't even recording it. I was just talking to him, and he's looking at me because he, Sky was getting kind of animated. Then Corey could see that, he was laughing, having a good time. But, this guy had a tremendous, return there to get things going. But I love the intensity and the speed at which he plays the game. And that was great. That was great to see. I mean, he took it up the field. He didn't know,
it's easy enough when you don't get touched, but when you go with a purpose and the hole is there, like sometimes you get rewarded.
You're going to hit it.
That.
Yeah. If you hit it up in there, you're either going to get blown up or you're going to come out flying on the other side. And he came out flying on the other side, took too aggressive an angle towards the kicker, ran out of gas. But man, what a play!
Yeah,
and it was
a great play.
It absolutely lit up the Niners.
It might have been the biggest play of the game. I know that there were a lot of really good ones, and I think that a lot of other ones will stand out. But something that I think we bring up when they're losing, but don't necessarily mention when they're winning, is that this team, in particular, every Kyle Shanahan team ever, really likes to play from ahead. It's very difficult for them because Kyle does not want to leave his script. He came up with the perfect plan during the week, and the perfect plan only works when things go perfectly. And when you just get a free 7 points off the jump, well, I guess you can't guarantee extra points anymore, and I suppose you can't even guarantee the touchdown. But as close to a free 7 points as you could possibly get from the jump, everything just falls into place. Now Kyle is living easy and thinking up interesting stuff, and he's not living paycheck to paycheck on his game plan. And that stress, you can see it manifest. It's why he's not a very good late game coach, because he needs certain things to do it, and he can't take in new variables as the game goes along because he's exhausted from thinking of every possible variable that could go wrong during the week. And well, it never actually goes that way. And maybe I relate to this a little bit in my personal life, where you just think all the time about all the worst case scenarios, and you get a little caught up in what should be as opposed to what is. But this is a front running team, and that view it as a pejorative if you won. I think it's more of a statement of fact. And to have that 7-0 and to have Brock then come out and follow that up looking real crisp outside of that first throw, just makes life so much easier. And there was never really a moment where Arizona felt competitive in this game because of all the penalties. Again, that won't hold, but something for the Niners to think about moving forward. I'm sure that they do every game, but like, how can they get out early? Because it is a tried and true testament to this, a tried and true formula this year and every other year. Get out early, they get out ahead. If they fall behind, I mean, they got like a 1-4, 1-5 shot of actually winning the damn game. And
it's that I agree. I'm in total agreement with you. But the question is this: do they feel strongly enough about that to take the ball?
They have no, because they feel it's a good question, and I think that it should be something that's firmly considered. And I'm seeing more teams do that this year. That's totally anecdotal. I'm sure somebody has a spreadsheet somewhere that can tell me if that's true or not. But that Final Four, first four, the lapping them mantra, like Kyle believes in that to a T. But
it's all dependent on games. It's dependent on a bunch of things that have nothing to do with if you take the ball, about the coin toss. I mean, I've looked at 4 different games from the 49ers. There are times where they've had 6 possessions in the first half. There's times when they've had 3. There's times, I mean, so you don't really know. So this whole we're going to time this right. You don't even know the way the game's going to play out. We have no idea if it's going to be if you're going to have a bunch of possessions or not. It just seems like, especially on a team that is so needing to play with a lead.
Right.
I get the desire to double up and this, that, and your ideal plan, but that's not always the way it works. And wouldn't you rather come out and have a 7-minute drive and get up 7-0? I don't know. I mean, it's one thing when you have a killer D and your D, you're confident. Your D's got so much energy and so much life and so much juice that alone is going to win the day, and you're going to get everything. They're going to get the ball first, but you're going to stop them first, and then you're going to get that score at the end of the first half, the score coming out of the locker room, and it's all going to work. Yeah, okay, when it works perfect, but what about when they drive down length of field like the Rams did, take 7 minutes to do so, and wind up with a touchdown? Right. Then all of a sudden, now you're playing from behind. So I don't know. And if it's not a big deal if you can play from behind, but if you're one of these teams that, man, it just derails everything you do when you fall behind at all, it just, I don't know. Seems like something they ought to consider. And not just go with one. So the other thing is, if you try to get the same thing every time, then it's pretty easy to make you uncomfortable because you're only comfortable doing it one way. It seems, that's what I notice, is that they're more comfortable when they can defer to the second half than they are when they have to play offense first. But, I don't know.
Kyle has said, the problem with Kyle sometimes is that his analytics team, and they have this group that's out there, research and advancement, they're just over there and they work on their own thing. And at some point, someone said that this steals a possession. And I don't think Kyle asked very many questions. And so he just goes, oh, okay. And so that's something I can tell the media. It steals a possession. I don't actually know if that's true or not, if it steals a possession.
It theoretically could, but it's not necessarily, It's not necessarily the case.
I'm with you. I think that maybe they should start considering it. Put the research and advancement team on that one and figure out if that could help them, because football is also, an emotional game. It's a tactical game. Like, it's, you can have all these plans. At some point, a football game is going to break out, and everyone has a plan until someone gets punched in the mouth. And this is a sport of getting punched in the mouth. It screams to me, these NBA teams, and I think it's all of them, who are like, oh, we can get a 2-for-1 here. There's like 34 seconds on the clock. So they run up the court, take the shittiest shot possible before 24 seconds left. And then,
2 bad shots are better than 1 good shot.
Right. I mean, that's their argument. I don't think that holds true in football. I think all possessions need to be treated on an individual basis, and just having the ball more. But again, we're talking about a guy who firmly believes in time of possession and stuff. So there's a lot going on there. I can't unpack his daddy issues, and it's been 10 years almost. Like we're no closer to figuring out what is Kyle's belief, what's his dad's belief, and what he's trying to do there. We should all call our dads, and I don't know. Maybe I'll call Mike and see if he can explain it to me, because I'm at a loss.
It's awesome to have beliefs that go back and be rooted in this and
Totally.
that, but at the same time, I think that Kyle has some things like not going for it on certain fourth downs. I think he ought to be more aggressive and more kind of with the analytics 2025 crowd. And I still think he's got some of the, Mike Shanahan 80s, 90s in him at his core.
I've always complained about this, that Sean McVay is the better, and I've said this, I'm on the record. Sean McVay is the better coach because Sean McVay is all of Kyle Shanahan in a pragmatic form. He's willing to change things up. And whatever Sean McVay does one year, Kyle rips off the next year. Now, in terms of putting together a game plan, Kyle is unparalleled. No one's better at it. I really do believe that. And I put Andy Reid in there. I put Sean Payton in there. Those guys are unbelievable at it. Kyle puts together the best possible game plans. But in terms of rolling with the punches, staying ahead of the curve, being pragmatic, Sean McVay does it better than anybody. And that is probably what makes him the best coach in the NFL, whereas Kyle is fighting for second, third, or fourth, because Kyle is the best Monday through Saturday coach, but come Sunday, you actually have to roll with the punches a little bit. McVay does it. Kyle doesn't. And you can see that manifest in their teams and how well they're playing.
Here's the thing, though, about, all these super anal, retentive, analytics.
I have no personal experience with that line of thinking.
But, so you've got all these anal, retentive analytics idiots and dorks sitting around telling you about incremental this and that. I'd love to know what these incremental, dorks think of, I don't know, playing your quarterback, your star running back, and your irreplaceable tight end up multiple scores in the fourth quarter of a game that you've won. If we're going to analyze everything to the nth degree, where's the risk reward on that idiocy?
Yeah. I'm actually over it.
Would the analytics people go have a hot dog at that point? The analytics people
probably
are checking out. Where are these analytics people that are so concerned about stealing a possession and incremental edges and this advantage and that advantage? But you're still going to use Purdy up 20. You're still going to run CMC in the last drive of the game. You're going to have these indispensable players that if you lose them, you're literally, you're taking a dive in Vegas as far as the over/under on the season total.
Is the allegation here, Larry?
Where's all the measuring for that stuff?
They clearly don't have it there,
and thrown out the window. Like, we don't need that anymore.
The idea that they have some sort of process or analytics or function, or I don't even know what you would call it. There's an algorithm somewhere that runs it on health. They clearly don't have anything like that, because all their guys get injured all the time. But
where's the analytics dork to say, hey, Kyle, let's not lose
dorks
CMC.
Don't know anything about the human condition. They know about the numbers.
Oh, they should, though. They should know that at this point in the game that Brock Purdy or CMC or George Kittle are operating at less than peak efficiency, blah, 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 blah.
How about this? Your chance of losing this game is 2%. Just don't ruin your players for that. But
the chances of winning anything in the playoffs go to no percent.
Right.
If you lose Purdy, CMC, and it's not like you've never done this before. They lost Bryce Huff at the last play of the game for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
It happens.
I'm over it. Like, you're not wrong. I'm not telling you you're wrong. You are in fact right, and you should keep yelling about it. I give up. I give up because I've never been about it, and frankly,
You've never been about what?
I've never been about like don't play him too much, this or that. Like, you're right, but that line is always moving. That line is never correct. And, as it was happening yesterday, I was texting with Jake, Dieter and Hutch show. You can watch and listen to it. Saying like, okay, like I don't mind. They're up 3 scores. It's 9 minutes to go. Brissett hasn't had completed 40 passes already. Like, clearly it's not, with this defense, it's not totally over. So this is defensible up until they get like a third first down. And then they do. And then you're like, okay, you could probably pull them now. and then they score a touchdown like 3 plays later, and it's like, okay, well, were they wrong? Sure. Does it matter? No. And if you're gonna, I'm a firm believer that you should wear your Jordans. There are some people who buy, these fancy $300 shoes and they put them on a shelf and never wear them. It's like, well, what's the point of having shoes if you don't wear them? Put some creases in the damn Jordans. And yeah, is this a death wish for Christian McCaffrey? You bet. Has George Kittle played for the last 6 years needing surgery on his shoulder? Yeah, that is 100% the thing. You should see them. They're gross. I mean, they're popping out in ways that I've never seen shoulders pop before. He looks like a cyclist. It's rough. This is football. They want to be out there. They're not asking to come out. They're not playing against their will. And I feel like Christian McCaffrey is trying to make up for all the touches he didn't get last year. So until he gets 500 touches, he will not rest. That is my official stance. He didn't get to play football last year in any real way. He's making up for lost time. And while that is inherently and unquestionably stupid, there's no smart person who's really playing football, right? Like, there has to be some level of idiocy to fully commit to playing professional football, because that is murder. Like, you throw a normal person out there, you would die. And I'm not even being hyperbolic. You throw Jake, sorry to throw Jake under the bus here, or in front of D. Winters, he would die. They would break every bone in his body immediately. Alfred Collins could break him over his knee. I would die, and I'm huge. So these guys want to do it. Let them do it. And I do think that maybe, trying to pull back and tame these wild horses is a dangerous game, especially when you need everything. And establishing tone is still something this team needs to do, because there's a lot of impressionable young players, and taking a couple off might not be the message that some young guys need to see right now. And I don't know about any of that inside, but I can imagine that's the only excuse I have. Ultimately, Larry, you're right, but they're going to do what they're going to do, and if it burns them, it burns them, and we'll all say we told you so. And I think they know that they shouldn't, but they can't help themselves, and that's just the way the San Francisco 49ers roll.
We should tell people 49er football on the Krug Show is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy, where you choose 2 to 8 players pregame or live and pick more or less on their statistical projections. If you're new to it, use promo code Larry, easy to remember, Larry. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100 in your first deposit. The link is right there in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, let's get into it. Thursday night. Are we going to the Thursday nighter?
It
yes,
makes sense.
Yeah,
seeing as Monday night's already happened.
Buffalo and Houston. That's the Thursday nighter.
Hopefully we get CJ Stroud back for that game.
This is a really good Houston defense and a really bad Houston offense. Let's take a look at
I don't know if the offense is that bad. I'll tell you whose defense is bad is Buffalo's.
Well, Buffalo, they lost Ed Oliver. He's just,
I know,
he was absolutely the key cog.
There are a tremendous amount of parallels right now between the Bills and the 49ers. I'm not buying either of them long term, but only one of these teams is still considered a true Super Bowl contender. And yet, I know Josh Allen is markedly better than Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy's pretty damn good. And I look at everything else, and you're like, I don't know. I think the Niners might be better because that Buffalo defense is god awful, just god awful.
Well, they don't have any, and their weapons are just kind of pedestrian. Name me a weapon that the Buffalo Bills have outside of Josh Allen that makes anybody go, uh-oh. James Cook, really?
James Cook is really good, but
he's okay.
And I called this before the season that offensive line was going to regress. Deion Dawkins has been fine, but he's not there. The interior of it's gone bad.
Their receivers are just
they're awful. I mean,
Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman
Keon Coleman's not even playing. He didn't show up for a meeting, but he's been a
knucklehead
since day one.
Nothing. I mean, nothing. No, there's not anything there that make you go, ooh, oh yeah, watch out.
It's Allen.
Buffalo.
So is one Josh Allen worth? Is he the equivalent of a Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings,
No,
Trent Williams.
no.
No.
He's
So-
good. He's good,
he's
and
unbelievable.
he's really good in the red zone because he's
Yeah.
big enough to run it in. And when they have any kind of bootleg action, it looks where everybody else looks like they got a decision to make. He literally can just read the play, and if they guard the receiver, he runs it. If they go after him, he throws it. I mean, he's really very deadly on the bootleg, because he's such a big dude who can run it in. He's not afraid of getting starched, but they're not good enough defensively. We'll get into a little bit more on the playoff race and the Super Bowl race. But
can you give me
I
a
think
Will
they're
Allen
bad.
line here?
A what?
Can you give me a Will Allen line?
A Will? Oh,
Anderson. Sorry.
Will Anderson.
Sorry.
I was like, who's Will Allen?
The only two good players on the field.
Will Anderson. Yeah, Will Anderson.
My defensive player of the year pick.
Yeah, let's go with this. Let's go more than half sack for Will Anderson.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Will Anderson's playing great.
He is so good. Woody Marks. What kind of numbers can I get on USC's Woody Marks?
57.5 rush yards. I don't know.
Working an injury. I mean,
he's not going to get enough touches. Well, I mean, does he ever get 20 carries?
No, they really don't. I like that 78.5 receiving plus
and
rush yards though
together. So you're kind of covered either way there. Yeah, you like more than that?
I like more than
all right,
that,
let's go more on that. We'll go more than 78.5. There we go.
And in fact, an even better one, if you want to, sorry, I know that you now can't do it, but you could go more than 1.5 receptions on one Mr. Marks, if that was a play you wanted to make. But at this point,
yeah, we can go with that. We can go with that too. We can throw it in there together.
Can we though?
Yeah, we can. We can do whatever we want. That's the beauty of Sleeper.
Hey now.
Sleeper says, "Hey, you can do whatever you want." Okay, let's go with that. Let's add one more in there. Let's go to Houston. Let's get a. Let's go to. Give me.
How about Khalil Shakir? So Shakir had an awful game. They have to give him something. Let's go more than 4.5 receptions. I think they got to funnel it. He's their only good receiver. They got to funnel it to him.
God, that's just so bleak.
Also,
okay.
I mean, he's going to line up in the slot a lot. That's kind of the one. I mean, Jalen Peach.
I would say
really
go
good.
with the yardage maybe, but we'll go 4.5. We'll go 4.5 receptions.
Okay. Hey, listen. You know what? I'm with you. Let's do yardage. Let's yardage.
Let's go. Okay, we'll go yardage. We'll go 19.5.
It's your show, Larry. Do your thing.
That's receiving yards. What was the 19.5?
I don't know what that was. Longest reception.
Oh yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
No, let me go 4.5. Let me go 4.5. 4.5 is better than 46.5.
Okay.
I thought it was 19.5. Okay, so let's go one more. And who else? Is Davis Mills going to play?
I don't know, but Nico Collins is.
Oh yeah, so let's go Nico Collins. I like Nico Collins to have a big game actually.
He's a good boy. He is unbelievable.
Nico
4.5. Nico for a tutty.
4.5. What are you looking at?
5.5. I am off.
5.5.
Sorry.
Is that total receptions? Yeah, let's go with Collins to get 6 receptions. Yeah, let's go with
We're the more boys.
We're going more. All right, let's see what we got.
How do you like it?
Collins more than 5.5 receptions. Anderson more than a half sack. Collins more than 5.5 receptions. Got to have 6. Shakir's got to have 4.5 receptions. Got to have at least 5. I like it. $5 to win $40.45. Big thanks to Sleeper. Remember, use code Larry for 100% deposit match up to $100. Links right in the description. Terms apply. Help support the show and get you rolling on the #1 sports app. Thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, let's get to the rest of these topics and we'll bolt for the door. What is the injury that the 49ers have that you think is the biggest deal right now?
I mean, it's Pinheiro. If we're talking about the new ones, it's Pinheiro. Like how easily we take a good kicker for granted.
Let's see. They're working out John Parker Romo. Did any other? He just got cut, didn't he? Is there any other kicker?
Jake Moody just got signed to the Commanders. They could have done the funniest thing ever.
Him and
just
Debo
brought him
get
back.
to be teammates.
Harrison Mevis is on the practice squad. So the issue that the Niners have here is that they don't want to cut Pinheiro because, of course, you don't want to cut Pinheiro. So they have to sign someone to the practice squad
and then
elevate them. So if you're trying to poach somebody off of a practice squad, you have to sign them to your active roster, which they're just not going to do. They could, but this front office.
You could get other guys, right? Aren't there other guys out there available?
Oh, yeah, you can get all the street free agents you want.
Yeah.
You can bring in 4. Who cares?
I don't know who's out there, but I think there's a bunch of guys out there.
To suffice it to say, if you're picking up a street free agent in week 12, not ideal. I know that a lot of teams have to do it. They will also tell you it's not ideal. And Eddie Pinheiro they had no choice. They had to get rid of Moody. They waited too long. They lucked into Pinheiro, who has been absolutely money the entire season. And now they're probably going to face what they were really worried about the entire time they held on to Moody, which is, oh no, unknown entity. We don't know what this guy is. I don't trust him. And it's going to short circuit Kyle. Like it's going to be a big issue because Kyle so quickly took to Eddie Pinheiro. He's out here having him kick 58-yard field goals now. Eddie Pinheiro he can't really kick 58-yard field goals, but Kyle's like, I trust him. I trust him with my life. And he didn't do that with Moody. He didn't do that. Robbie Gould even, he would go through these spells of like, I don't know. Now Kyle's going to have to think about special teams. I don't like that at all.
Just sign a kicker. It doesn't matter.
They will. It's going to happen.
Anders Carlson, fine. Matthew
I don't care
Wright,
who it is.
fine.
I'm telling you, whoever it is
is
going to put you through the ringer because you already cashed in your get lucky with a kicker card for the year.
Just sign a kicker. I would say don't put any importance into it. Don't put any real thought into it. Just find a kicker. The same way people find a kicker in fantasy, find a kicker that way. Just whoever you think. Don't spend a lot of time on it. Don't put a lot of emotion into it. Just find a replacement kicker for a couple of weeks, and hopefully it won't make a difference.
Yeah.
That would be my approach. I wouldn't rack my brain trying to find the perfect guy or anything. No, because it's a temporary fix. Just anybody who you feel like is going to be able to come in and maybe, Matthew Wright, Anders Carlson, these guys, I think they could do the job. They did the job last year. I would say
if anyone knew how this was going to go, it wouldn't be so dramatic. No one knows.
I think the big injury to keep your eye on is Jennings, because I just feel like Jennings is, their receiver they don't have any receivers and they need Jennings, and he's kind of like their money guy, and he's just got a million different injuries. So that's the one that I think is I'm most concerned about is Jennings. Everybody else, because there's no real replacement for Jennings. Bourne, whatever.
Bourne's already been replaced. He barely played yesterday, and for good reason.
Bourne's a non-factor. I don't. You know what some people were suggesting, and God, I hope this isn't the case.
What?
Some people are suggesting that the Niners are not playing Bourne because they are trying to avoid paying him the bonus that he gets if he makes like 5 more catches or some ridiculous thing or whatever it is. Like he's got like a $500,000. Nobody credible, but people have suggested that to me in the last 24 hours that somehow they're burying Bourne because they're trying to not have him reach his incentives.
They're burying Bourne because 6 weeks into the season, he still doesn't know the goddamn plays. And it's painfully obvious. They're burying Bourne because Mac kept vouching.
I've never heard of a receiver who that was a factor. Literally run the route that's called for you.
Not when you don't block. When you don't block, like it is. He doesn't block.
That should be if you're a receiver and you can't get in there because you don't know the plays.
Yes,
that's really bad.
Oh, sorry, I misconstrued what you were saying. Yes, that's right. If you don't know the plays. What are we doing
here? When the Niners traded for Emmanuel Sanders, they traded for him and he played like days later.
Yeah, well, Emmanuel Sanders isn't a knucklehead. Like, he's a very, very sharp dude. And they basically hired him to be their wide receivers coach that year. Wes Welker. How's that going? But yeah, it was, he doesn't block. He doesn't know the plays. It wasn't getting better. And the thing was that Mac really liked him. And there is a such thing as chemistry between a receiver and a quarterback. And Mac felt comfortable with Kendrick Bourne. And so they would run him in those spots because Mac liked throwing the ball to him. And it worked. But as soon as Mac's out, you don't have your advocate anymore. And Brock Purdy doesn't have any opinion on Kendrick Bourne. He does have an opinion on Juwan Jennings, and he would sure prefer to throw it to Ricky Pearsall. And frankly, Demarcus Robinson, who was a complete non-factor despite looking really good in camp, because it's like, man, did he forget how to play football? Like, did he completely fall out of shape in 3 weeks? Like, it was weird. He just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
I get the feeling that his chemistry is with Purdy as well, because I just feel like
that's what it looked like.
Purdy's going to throw it to Robinson. I think Robinson will be more of a factor, but
Robinson and Purdy look great in preseason, or they look great in camp. They look great in preseason. And who was out there instead of Kendrick Bourne? It was Robinson. So quarterbacks get some say. You get to have one guy that you like, and everybody else is whoever the coach decides.
I didn't get this out of the presser today, but Raj from RSF 49ers says the 49ers expect to open the practice window for Jacob Cowing after the Week 14 bye. That's funny because I listened to the whole presser. I did not hear Kyle Shanahan say that. So if he said that,
I'm not going to lie.
It eluded me. I didn't hear that. I did not hear him say that. This is what I had down in my notes. I had down Jacob Cowing and Brandon Ayuk. They're not going to open their window this week. And I didn't get any confirmation of Cowing's window is going to be open after the bye. I hope that's right. Because he hasn't done squat, and it's time. They need him bad. I mean, they need some speed. So that's something to watch as well. Let's get to the next one.
It's right here. What was the status?
What do you say? What do you say?
So the question was, what's the status of Cowing and Ayuk? Any possibilities you can open the windows from this week? Not going to be this week. Both of them are a week-to-week deal. I'm sure Jacob will probably be after the bye week. And then Brandon's just week to week. So that's not even a confirmation that they will open it. I'm not sure they ever open it.
Wait a second. So I'm sure Jacob, say that again.
Both of them are a week to week deal.
Right.
I'm sure Jacob will probably be after the bye week.
But that doesn't mean it's going to be the week after the bye week. That just means after the bye week.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I don't think
Jacob
left Cowing,
after that. So
I have a very bold, inconsequential prediction. Jacob Cowing's never taking a snap for this team again.
Well, we'll get to that too with Ayuk, because I think Ayuk may never take another snap. But either way, I do think that Shanahan, like, just from getting to know Shanahan, kind of the way he goes about these things, that's not he's coming back after the Week 14 bye. That is, he won't be coming back before.
I'm not even thinking about that kid until after then. We'll talk about him at the bye week. When your mom gets home, we'll discuss what your punishment is. That's what that is.
I mean, I did not hear that. Like it's, if you watch this, if you looked at this tweet, you'd be like, oh, Jacob Cowing is going to be on the active roster after the bye. And I just think what he meant to say is he's not going to be on the active roster before the bye.
I'll give Raj some credit here. Kyle's a mumbler on those press conference calls.
He really is. He really is.
He's a mumbler at the podium, but at least he, kind of stands up a little bit straight. I can only imagine if he's like consuming a sandwich, watching 3 film at the same time, and conducting a staff. I mean, he's got to watch all the cameras of every meeting room. So, I mean, how could he possibly focus on that call?
I mean, he definitely, sometimes he's got his moods, sometimes he's in a really bad mood and other times he's in a much better mood. But yeah, when they lose, he gets pretty foul. And a lot of times he doesn't want to, when he doesn't want to get specific, he'll be like, kind of trails off.
This is why Eric Branch is so vital, because Eric Branch just does not care what Kyle's mood is. And he's just trying to ask his Brancher questions, baby. I love him. Branch
asks questions. I mean, it sounds kind of like a child sometimes. I mean, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like he's asking for himself.
Yeah,
some guys ask press conferences for everybody.
There's always, the articles, the writers ask questions about articles they're going to write.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just it's a little bit different. All right, let's share the screen.
Let's.
And there's a couple Baldies I want to get your thoughts on. Here is Baldy number one. He did a couple on the Niners, and here's the first one. Let's see what he has to say, and we'll react. Brian
supposed to do.
Baldinger.
Follow the ball. Get to the ball, because sometimes the ball is loose. Sometimes 56 is Keon White. He joined the 49ers at the trade deadline on a trade with the New England Patriots, and he's been playing a lot. Here he is in a wide nine, rushing the veteran Kelvin Beachum, right? Beachum pulls him down. In fact, they throw the flag. But that's not the important thing. Brissett takes off, and who takes off after him? Keon White, right? All right. White gets stopped at the goal line, right? Doesn't get into the end zone. Two plays later, we got Huff off the edge. Now we got Keon White inside. He's going to get double. But what does Keon White do here? Keon White is going to rush the passer. And when the ball's thrown over the middle to Higgins, what does he do? He doubles back, because that's what you're supposed to do. Follow the ball. Get to the ball, because sometimes the ball is loose. Sometimes the ball gets out. And sometimes you fall on the ball. And sometimes you get the recovery. Like, that's what you get when you chase the ball and you get to the ball. You get the ball. That's how you play football. That's the Salah effect right there.
I mean, it feels like he's got some other things he's working out with that commentary, but I'll tell you, I have really enjoyed, as much as this team does not get to the quarterback. Keon White has been a very nice addition. It's kind of hilarious. Everyone's like, why didn't they do anything at the deadline? Because they did their work a week before. They got White. Where would they be without White? In a worse situation somehow than the one that they're in. And I was talking to Hutch about this today. Like, if this team was healthy, they would have a defensive end rotation of White, Michael Williams, Huff, and Bosa. Now, of course, this team's never healthy, so that's a ridiculous hypothetical. But that might be the best four-man defensive end unit in the NFL. Like, White's really good. And, yeah, I just think he's been a really wonderful pickup for them. And that's the inverse Chase Young right there. So credit to the Niners for finding the inverse Chase Young.
Well, I mean, they found a guy who had no value to the Patriots, but had tremendous value to them, that didn't have a scheme fit with the Patriots, but does have a scheme fit with them. And I'll credit them. I mean, he's not a true defensive end. Like, he doesn't have real body lean. I mean, you could see there, he didn't really have that body lean, but it doesn't matter. They just need a bigger body that can play inside or outside, because you got guys going down left and right. So you're gonna have alignments that are all D tackles and all ends, and you're just gonna have to mix and match. And he's a perfect guy to mix and match with. So yeah, no, Keon White's been good. I talked to him the other day at his locker. He's really happy to be here. He said he's just putting his head down and just trying to give him as much as he possibly can. And
he's under contract for another year, Larry. Like, he's going to be Michael Williams' backup next year. He might even start the season instead of Michael, because Michael's coming off an ACL injury, middle of the year. Like, that's, again, Huff, Bosa. I don't know if Yetur Gross-Matos will be on the team or not. Probably not. Who knows who they get in? Like, there's something there, right? As much as we can bemoan the draft picks, this team, every other team in the NFL, just look at Arizona. They had 1 week that has been the equivalent of what the Niners have faced since week 2. Just a steady stream of what the fuck now? How many guys are injured? The Cardinals had to deal with it for 1 week, and they completely imploded as an organization. The 49ers have had to deal with this every week, all year, for years in a row. Like 3 out of the last 5 years, they've had to deal with this. And yet they still, they're finding ways to win. They find players off the street, off the scrap heap, whatever, who are not as good as the ones that they had. Of course not. But find a way to at least do something. They're not complete jerks out there.
Well, the Niners have a culture. The Cardinals
matters.
don't have a winning culture.
No,
Cardinals have a losing culture, and it's hard to turn that around. And it goes so far beyond 100%. Jonathan Gannon. Here's one more Baldy. Let's see what he had to say here about Purdy.
Let's hear what Baldy has to yell here. Or not? Do you want me to do a Baldinger impression?
Are you not hearing it?
I'm not hearing anything. The screen is not currently shared, Larry.
Oh, okay. Wait a second. Hold on a second.
Kevin?
Thought we had shared the screen. Where is it? Here we go. I got a lot of windows open here. Okay, here we go. Now we've got this Baldy. Okay.
There we go.
Here we go. Now you see it.
Let me tell you about this guy right here.
Here we go.
Brock Purdy came in and he played great with no rust. But the design of the plays were really good. Like this is a triple stack right here. And you're just going to flood the zone here against Arizona. Pearsall's going deep. He's taking 2 with them, and there's the hole. And Brock Purdy reads it perfectly, hits Jennings for 25. Then you get this. You get this massive, like, pre-snap shift, motion, the whole thing. You get a 2x2 set. Down here, you get Kittle and you get Juice. And it's one-on-one. It's cover 1 right here. So Kittle's one-on-one right here with Akeem Davis-Gaither. He beats him clean, and Brock puts it away from the free safety. Beautiful 30-yard touchdown. Then you get this right here. You get CMC. You get McCaffrey right here and this motion. And he's one-on-one here with Cody Simon.
This is so
he's going to get bumped right here by Kittle, and he's wide open. And Purdy sees it. And then you get this. You get this play right here where you're going to get McCaffrey and you're going to get Pearsall. And all they're going to do is be just a bunch of cheese right here. All right? And here goes Kittle behind it. He's going to take Jalen Thompson to deep water and come out of it. Easy throw for 4-yard touchdown. Like the plays really matter, you know, and you watch this right here. Like McCaffrey, here you go.
This is the flood.
Same thing. Like just, have you ever thought if McCaffrey could be a wide receiver? Watch this 15-yard comeback. 5 yards of separation on Max Melton, the corner. Good design. Yeah. Excellent execution.
Yeah, that last ball was one of the worst balls I thought Brock threw. Yeah. It was just floated and just held up. But yeah, I mean that, you know, the Shanahan, you know, the play design in this game was really, really strong. Shanahan, you know, I thought had a number of really nice plays in this game. Overall, I think Brock Purdy, what we saw there, where you're seeing Brock audible at the line of scrimmage, read coverage, get into a more advantageous play. You know, we didn't see a lot of audibling from Jones. Not that he couldn't do it, but we didn't see a lot of it. Didn't see a lot of it. And when we did see it, it was an audible to a run play. You know,
it was a can. There's a difference. There's a difference between a can and an audible.
Right. I mean, he was canning the play, going to a run. He's got a bad look. You know, all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're going to go. We're going to do this. We're going to. But he was switching to a run as opposed to Purdy. It looks like, you know, was looking to be more aggressive. He is more aggressive. And I think he used the audibles in a more aggressive way. He was looking to throw the ball down the field. But there was a lot of good design there.
Unquestionably. The difference between running an offense and understanding an offense has been made evident by Brock Purdy coming in versus what we'd seen from Mac Jones recently. And Mac was running the offense. And this offense is good enough that if you run it, it will get you yards and points. But understanding the offense and being able to manipulate the offense, to be able to do those, you know, kind of to steal from Madden, those, you know, receiver hot routes and stuff. I mean, he was doing it in plays. I mean, you think about the throwaway right before that Kittle touchdown throw that Baldy broke down. He's rolled out to his right. Jennings is one-on-one, running along the back line, and Brock is pointing him, go that way. And he threw it away eventually because I do think that there was a linebacker coming into the line of vision. He didn't want to be overly aggressive because he knew he could burn him on the next play, which is, again, not an opportunity that you'll get in every game moving forward. But Brock understands this offense. He elevates this offense. And we just so many people seem to forget that that's what makes him different. Mac was running the Jimmy G offense, and the Jimmy G offense got this team to a Super Bowl. And you can make the argument, oh, well, the Purdy offense only got the team to a Super Bowl too. Yeah, but Brock got MVP votes. And you mentioned pushing the ball down the field. I ran some numbers on it. Shout out to Nick Wagner, who kind of, you know, perked my ears up to this. Mac Jones is the worst deep ball thrower in the NFL over the last 3 years. He was the worst in the NFL this year. He was second worst the year before that. He was the worst the year before that. Purdy completes 37% more passes over 20 yards in the air than Jones compared to expected per NFL data. 20 yards in the air quarterback ratings, Purdy 106, Jones 32. Purdy has already completed 7 of his 10 deep passes this year and 99 attempts total. That's 10% of his overall passes. He's pushing it 20 yards or more down the field. Jones has 4 completions on 16 attempts all year. He's only thrown it downfield on 5% of his throws. It's the difference between teams that hit home runs and teams who play for batting average. And as much as you want to say, hey, it's great to put the ball in play and bat above 300, you got to put the ball over the fence. And Purdy, by the way, hits at a pretty nice clip. I don't know if he's, Aaron Judge or anything, where he's hitting 55 home runs and still leading the league in batting. But he's sure as hell a Cal Raleigh. I mean, he's not Dave Kingman up here, batting 200, but hitting 40 dingers a year. Purdy's deep ball stuff, this is not just a short-lived sample. He was unbelievable in it with it in 2023. And even last year, when he only got 1.6 yards of separation from his receivers, which is the same number Mac Jones got this year. So to credit Mac, he was doing it with very little. This 1.6 is egregious. Purdy got 3 in 2024. But even when he had only 1.6 yards of separation, he had a passer rating of 87. Jones had a passer rating of 32. Purdy's really good at this. And I don't know when people are going to quite understand that just because he's not 6'3" and carries a little bit of weight and stands in the pocket and looks like he has a rocket for an arm because he really zips some 7-yard throws, which is Mac Jones, just because Purdy can't see over his line and because he plays like a squirrel at the dog park and because, they float a little bit, doesn't mean he's not a really good deep ball thrower, that he's not a gunslinger, and that he doesn't elevate this offense. We had watched Kyle Shanahan's offense be effective but not potent for years, because Garoppolo, who was the best of every quarterback that he had prior to Purdy, couldn't push the ball to the sidelines, and he couldn't push the ball deep. And Kyle made do. But he also made do with Nick Mullins, right? And maybe not C.J. Beathard, but Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins had, I think, the second most passing yards in the first 16 starts of any player in the history of the NFL, second to Patrick Mahomes. That's Nick Mullins. So, Jimmy Garoppolo was like manna from heaven compared to him. But we had seen the limitations of what just scheme could do, especially in this modern era where defenses are more versatile, more aggressive, more dynamic schematically than ever before. You need a quarterback who can make plays and can challenge all three areas of the field, can push it sideline to sideline. Purdy is not perfect. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Mahomes, though Mahomes is having a bit of a down year. But he is very, very, very good, and he elevates this offense to another level. There's a reason why nobody in the building gave a second thought to putting Purdy back in there when Purdy said, I'm ready to go. They needed him to show it on the practice field, and he did. And then he showed it again on Sunday. But, man, it's embarrassing for everybody, and you weren't one of them, Larry. I'll give you credit for this, who were just prisoners of the moment and saying, I don't know, I think Mac is better. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. This is what good quarterback play looks like, and it might not be MVP caliber play from this point on. He might need a better team around him to get to that level, but it's a hell of a lot closer than whatever Mac Jones was doing. Mac Jones kept this team's head above water. That's great. With Brock Purdy at the helm, they can start swimming towards the playoffs, which is a big difference.
I mean, you have to know what you're watching as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as simple as what you're seeing is what you're seeing. It's not that simple because one guy's taking Spanish 3 and the other guy's taking Spanish 1. I mean, that's what these offenses are. It's like taking foreign language. And a guy like Brock, who's been in this offense for years, he's like the equivalent of the student who's taking Spanish 3.
But he's fluent.
You could have he might be a mediocre student taking Spanish 3. You could have the best student in the class who's taking Spanish 1. He's still probably not going to be as proficient as the guy who's a junior who's taking Spanish 3. That's what we're looking at, I think. It's just
that's a good.
Jones can read coverage. Jones is really smart. Jones played in a big-time conference. Jones is a big-time player. I don't think there's any question about that. I think people misgauged him based on Patricia and O'Brien and no weapons and Jacksonville backup. This guy plays on time. Okay, the ball comes out on time.
Yes.
Now he's not Brock Purdy. He's not Brock Purdy as far as the knowledge of this offense and what he can do at the line and all the different things. But this is a voluminous, offense. I mean, there's a lot. They're very multiple. There's a lot in there. The playbook's vast. So I think I won't speak with like definitive terms like, oh, Purdy's better than Jones. He'll always be better than Jones. He's better than Jones in this offense right now. And that's all that really, I'm care to get into. As far as, down the road, I mean, who knows? It's hard to say. And, they have their strengths and weaknesses. Brock, I don't think takes as good a care of the ball as Jones does, but Brock also takes bigger gambles and is a much more aggressive player. Just period. Jones is not as aggressive of a player. I like Jones's accuracy better. A little bit better. I think his accuracy is a little bit better. But you know what? I think overall, I like the best trait that either of them have, I think, is Purdy's competitiveness. And that's the trait that I think vaults him to a special category. And I've been trying to say that to people for a long time. I don't know if people really believe that, because that's hard to, it's hard to quantify sometimes.
Yeah,
it's hard to, it's hard to kind of measure. It's hard to quantify. It's hard to get people, it comes across very much like an opinion and not a statement of fact. And I get that. But just from being around a lot of different quarterbacks, being around a lot of different football players, having the opportunity to go talk to these guys, kind of getting a feel. I mean, one of the things as a personnel guy that you have to be able to do is you have to be able to look at the player, crunch all the variables, the height, the weight, the speed, the age, the this, the that, the injuries, all of it, and then get to the essence of a player, because ultimately that's what is defines the player. What's his essence? Mm-hmm. And the one thing about Brock Purdy, his essence is he is an insane. He looks like the friendly boy next door, but he is an insane Joe Montana, Michael Jordan, Derek Jeter type competitor. That's the overarching trait. I think with Jones, the overarching trait is he's accurate. His accuracy is, and he's accurate and on time, and football smart. But I mean, that's what comes out. But to me, what makes Purdy even more special is that his super crazy competitive fire helps him elevate the rest of these attributes from just good or pretty good to, in big moments, they're going to be elite. Like, yeah, in big moments, Brock's going to be as accurate as anybody because it's big moments and he's all about the W. Look, I mean, I can still remember the beginning of the Super Bowl. We're sitting there listening to Tony Romo tell us that Brock Purdy's going to whiz down his leg, and that the Chiefs were genius to give the ball to the Niners because Purdy's never been in this environment, never been in this, and he is not going to adapt to it well. Well, and then like 5 minutes later, 7 minutes later, whatever, on the broadcast, you have Romo going, I guess I was wrong, because it's competitive. It's Brock's competitive deal. He is a crazy competitor.
And that has to be paramount with all quarterbacks. I think it's something that the 49ers value perhaps maybe too much when they do their player personnel evaluations at draft time, character and things like that. But, I'll give them some benefit of the doubt on that's how you also find the diamonds in the rough, right? George Kittle, if he doesn't have that fire, if he doesn't have what I like to call the crazy, like who would have known? Fred Warner, same thing. He weighed nothing. He was a safety. You have to be crazy to do it. Brock does not have the physical traits. People will always hold that against him. You know who's the most physically gifted quarterback in the NFL?
Herbert.
Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah, Richardson, yeah.
How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, it's a feel position. You got to have feel, and you know what? One of the things, you got to be really, really smart. But Joe Montana wasn't a genius, but he was a football genius. He knew, and so it's all about football smart. And Brock Purdy's football smart. And then the other thing, we used to have meetings about this. The singular question of, do you love football? And it's like, we wanted to draft guys that love football. But how do you figure it out? Well, you could ask them, hey, do you love football? But they guess what? They know that the answer is supposed to be yes. So they all say yes. So now you got to go to another measuring stick. How do you determine love of football. And it's not even love of football on game day. Everybody loves football on game day. It's the process. How do you know that this guy loves the process of pro football, which is the lifting and the film and the meetings and the weekday and the Monday through
pain.
Saturday leading into Sunday? That is pro football. That's where it's all done. That's where, the game day is where it's, that's game day, but the whole process of pro football. So it's like, do you love it? But then there's ways to find out, The old coach said to me, everybody's looking at their watch. Are you looking at your watch saying, I need to get to the facility? Or are you at the facility looking at your watch saying, I got to get home? And the guy who's saying, I got to get to the facility, that guy's going to be way better than the guy who's like, I got to get home. I got to get home. So it's just, it's hard. And it's hard to measure that because they all will say it. So you have to ask other people. You have to ask questions that reveal their process and their mindset and this and that. And Brock Purdy, I think that's what's really special. What's really special about Brock Purdy is that he lives for Sunday. He's all about the W, and he's even better if you doubt him. Like, I was starting to think on Sunday, Dieter, about the Eagles NFC Championship game against the Niners and how I was sitting there watching it. And even after Brock went down, you could see how badly he wanted to get in there. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't care. At the time, we didn't know how seriously he was hurt. And I was thinking to myself, I don't care if it doesn't look good. I'd rather have him in there seeing what he can do and then maybe just run the ball. Run the ball and have him throw a few passes, but he couldn't throw it all. But now here we are. It's years later. And it's like, I feel good about the 49ers, even in the playoffs, even against some better teams.
Right.
Because I have a feeling this Shanahan has the ability to elevate. I think Purdy does as well. We're going to find out if that's actually the case because they're probably going to have to go on the road and beat these, beat some of these teams.
And they might have to win some games down the stretch. They might end up in a situation where they need 2 wins in the final 3 games against what could be all 3 playoff teams. In fact, 2 will be playoff teams. But one last thing on this, and then we'll leave it. When you, and I don't want to pretend like this is totally analogous, but in the Marine Corps, the higher you get, the less they give a damn about your stature, all of your, marksman medals, all that stuff. They select by compatibility. They select by how good you are with other people and what you bring to a team and how you would fit in with the team and how your set of skills fits into what that team needs. And again, it's not analogous. The Marines are far more important and dangerous and significant and all this stuff. You know where I'm going. But to get through 18 weeks of an NFL regular season with all of the pain and all of the hurt, and it is just taking chips off your body and from your soul every week, you have to sort by compatibility when it comes to the quarterback. When your leader of your team has to be the guy who you can trust to fight through it, who wants to be there, who can bring others along with him even when those others don't necessarily want to go. You have to sort by the unquantifiable, by the ineffable. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is all that great of a quarterback, but you know what he is? He's a hell of a leader. And was Tom Brady the most athletic dude known to man? Hardly. But you know what he was? An unbelievable leader who somehow got along with everybody, which doesn't seem to be the case post-retirement. But in that locker room, guys swore by him. They would do anything for him. You don't win Super Bowls unless you are a leader first, and then the traits can come into play. So it's not to say that Mac Jones isn't a leader. It's not to say that, Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't a leader. It's just to say that Brock kind of elevates to a level beyond that the higher you get, the higher the goals are, the more important that stuff is. And the 49ers should have the highest possible goals. And I think he hits the mark on everything you're looking for in a quarterback to get you over that when we're talking about the things that don't show up at the combine, that don't show up in the box score.
Here is the playoff picture right now.
Oh, man. I know where I'll be.
Just if we walk through this, I think the Niners have a chance to beat the Rams because it's a division game.
I've seen it.
I think the Bears have a chance to beat the Packers.
Everyone's got a chance to beat the Packers right now.
Yeah, and Packers look bad. But like right now, if you said pick this, I would go I'll go Niners over Rams in an upset. I'll go Green Bay over Bears, even though they're the lower seed.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Tampa at home over Seattle, even though Seattle, I think, is going to play well in that game on the road. Okay. So now you have the 4, the 6, and the 7 advancing, which means it's Green Bay against Tampa, and the Niners go to Philly.
Yeah.
And then the Niners could get probably, in my scenario, they probably wind up getting Tampa if they could beat Philly, and they'd have to beat the Rams in LA, Philly and Tampa just to go to the Super Bowl. That's the NFC right now.
Yeah.
The AFC, Denver's the one. They'd get the bye.
Sure.
And then I think New England beats Jacksonville. I'll take Colts over Chargers, but I think
Chargers are dead. They're a dead team walking.
Chargers are bad right now.
I mean, I was so bullish on them. They're dead. They're dead.
Yeah. I mean,
the second Alt went down for the second time, it was over.
Yeah. I mean, they lost Slater and Alt, and then
Jesus Christ, the NFC sucks. Don't let the Chiefs get back in there. They'd be the best team.
And then Buffalo. You mean the AFC?
The AFC, AFC Buffalo, sucks. NFC's kick ass.
Buffalo's gonna be Pittsburgh. So that would be Buffalo going to Denver as the lowest seed, and then New England playing Indianapolis, old school, Peyton versus Brady, neither are there. And then
people in Indianapolis will be frothing.
I think Buffalo. I think Denver probably would beat Buffalo in Denver, and I would take probably New England to beat Indianapolis, and we could wind up with Denver and Patriots. We could wind up with Patriots and Bills, but I would not be surprised if the Patriots wind up being the team out of the AFC. Now, Kansas City, you think is going to get in there. You also would like to think that Detroit is probably going to get in there on the NFC side.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right now,
the Bears keep sneaking by.
Right now, Detroit and Kansas City and Houston with their killer D and Baltimore, they're all out. They're all out right now.
Baltimore's probably going to get in, to be fair. If Rodgers is down, not that Rodgers was doing anything for him, but like, Jesus Christ, and AFC North, get it together. Like, is it wrong for me to think Seahawks Colts Super Bowl? Is anyone excited for that? I mean, I would be because I'm a dork.
I don't believe in Sam Darnold to win all those big games. I don't, and I think they'll have one game where he'll throw picks and stuff. And I
almost won the game. He threw 4.
I know
that defense is unbelievable.
They have a good defense for sure, but I don't believe in Seattle as much. I think if I had to pick one team, I would pick Philly. I'd pick Philly, and I like New England.
Yeah, I'll buy New England to a degree. I'll be blunt. I haven't watched a lot of New England. I figured.
Oh, they've been really good. I mean, May's playing well. They're playing great on D. They got a great secondary. They're very disciplined. I don't know if you read the article yesterday, but there was an article, national article, saying that Vrabel gave him 5 days off or 3 days off or something like that. And the first day off, there was like 45 guys on the team in the facility working out. So they've got a great culture going right now.
To be fair, there's nothing else to do in Foxborough, Massachusetts. But
yeah, I mean, but it's you go to Boston,
no.
Listen,
but
I'm just saying,
I don't want to take anything away
New
from
England.
them.
What if the Niners wound up in a Super Bowl at Levi's against a New England type team, where you know what? It was a between years kind of a thing, and Allen couldn't quite get through, and Denver didn't quite get through, and Kansas City couldn't quite get through, and it all kind of shuffled together and bunch of games, and New England got there. That would be the team that I think, you know what? The 49ers could beat. You put the 49ers with Brock Purdy in their home stadium with all these guys who have been there before, the Kittles, the CMCs, the Trents, couple years after they should have won one. Yeah. I don't think they're going to get there. If they could get into that game, Man, I think New
Larry?
England's the team they could absolutely beat.
I'll take it one step further. They can beat every single, and this is not stretching it. And I have a deserved reputation for being a hater. There is not a single AFC team that's going to beat the NFC's champion. It's not happening. Whoever wins the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl. It's going to be like the mid-90s again.
It does seem like the power is in the NFC, but it's hard to picture who's that going to be. I mean,
I'm with you. I mean, I'll take the Seahawks. I'll hear the Eagles. That defense is awesome. You can go ahead and take the Rams. That's cool. My preseason pick was Chiefs Packers. I'm not ruling out the Packers yet. We're getting there, but not yet.
They look bad.
Chicago, Tampa. Okay, no, but they're good. They're good.
I think Tampa's live. I think Tampa's live. You don't think so? I know they're
if Vita Vea is not on the field, you can do whatever you want to.
Is he out?
Defense.
Oh,
no, I'm just saying he doesn't play every snap.
Oh.
And you can run on him with impunity when he's off the field. They can even run on him a little bit when he's on. You just run away from him, which is easier said than done. Like, it's a one-man defense, and it's Baker. And Baker's stuff that was working really well early in the season isn't working as well now. I don't trust their coaching staff. I don't trust that they'll be able to, take it to another level, which is what's going to be required of them. Losing to Buffalo.
You don't trust Tampa's coaching staff?
I think Todd Bowles is a great head coach and a good defensive
their offensive coordinator from Yale and supposed to be like one of the hot up-and-coming guys in the sport.
I mean, Mike McDaniel's from Yale. I don't think anyone's picking the Dolphins right now.
Well, I'm not saying that's a prerequisite. Yale's the key, but I've heard great things about their OC.
Grizzard or something to that effect?
Yeah, Grizzard.
Yeah. He calls good plays. He's unproven. I'm just not going to place my money on him compared to McVay, Shanahan. I guess Vic Fangio. I mean, that's kind of an unfair thing if we're just going, but I guess the defensive coordinators, let's just do that. Not picking him against Fangio. I'm not picking him against Saleh. I'm not picking him against Shula. I'm not picking him against McDonald. I'm not picking him against Halfley. Maybe Dennis Allen. Like, NFC is awesome. Just the offensive play callers and the defensive play callers are awesome. The Eagles actually might be at a deficiency compared to their peers because, outside of Fangio, Fangio is kind of the only thing they got going for them right now. Rams have two great ones. Niners have two great ones. Packers have two great ones. I know that it doesn't look like it right now. They have two great ones. Bears are pretty good. I mean, Ben Johnson's incredible, and Dennis Allen's pretty damn good, but I don't know if he's at that level.
Their defense isn't good.
No,
the Bears can't stop the run.
Bears are a year away. They're a year away. And I'm not a Caleb guy. You're not a Caleb guy. We're not Caleb guys. NFC's dominant. Give me the NFC over anybody in the AFC. And if that means it's the 49ers over anybody in the AFC, so be it. The best team in the AFC is not even in the playoff picture right now.
I'm a big quarterback guy in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So I'd go Baker over Darnold, and I'd go Love over Caleb.
Okay.
And normally I'd go Stafford over Purdy, but I think, who knows? Maybe Purdy's got a little magic.
Sure.
And then I would go Allen over Rodgers, and I would probably go with the one that's hard to pick is Herbert and Jones.
It's Herbert versus 53 other men.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that one. But I would definitely go with May. But I'm not a big believer in Bo Nix, even though they're the 1 seed.
That's what we're talking about here. We're going Bo Nix or Drake May or Daniel Jones. Yeah,
I'm thinking Drake May might be especially if the Chiefs don't get in. But if the Chiefs, even if the Chiefs get in, this might be the year Drake May, Brock Purdy. I mean, it'll be incredible to watch.
To be fair, the Niners have to get in first, and
they got to improve their D first, which is
I don't think that's going to happen. So they're going to have to figure out a way to work around it, which is maybe it might look reasonable next on Monday Night Football. It might look reasonable against the Browns, depending on who the quarterback is. I presume it'll be Gabriel. It might look just fine against the Titans, right? We might.
Why can't they improve their D though? Because Detroit got Roy Lopez. He's just a nothing guy, but he's playing well for them. It's like other teams find guys off the street or off practice squads or plug in guys and just
I
don't
guess-
miss a beat. I
I
don't know
guess
why
it's-
the Niners can't.
Well,
I mean, I don't know who it's going to be
because
but
they
you know what I'm saying?
haven't. I mean,
they haven't.
because they generally don't. They've well, okay, that's not fair. They pick up guys all the time off the street and they plug them in and they're fine. But they're at a point where they need playmakers. And credit to Diamador Lenore, who had been kind of bad, but was magnificent against the Cardinals. Really good. Elevated his play. Was the star the Niners needed in that game. They're going to have to be opportunistic. They're going to have to be very similar to last year's Lions team, where, yeah, we're not actually that good, but you're going to give us the ball once or twice. That has to be the mantra. And that's doable. That's doable. And we might get lulled into a false sense of security over the next 3 games. And then here come the Colts and Steichen. And I mean, how the hell do they stop Jonathan Taylor? Like, that doesn't happen. They're not stopping him.
Who?
How the hell do they get around Ben Johnson throwing out the works on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football? They don't. And then it might come down to a Week 18 game in Seattle where they are begging Seattle to have had their business tied up. Or they're begging that the best case scenario is they get to play again the exact same team the next week. Like,
how many wins do you think they need? They need 11?
They need 10. They need 10 at the minimum.
Well, then just win these 4. I mean, you got 3 games left. Beat Tennessee, but win the next 3, and there you go. You're at 10.
There you go. Then you're cooking.
I thought you were talking about a scenario where they need 11, because if they need 11,
they might, but probably
then that Bears
no, they
game
need
is
they
gonna
need it. But
become
you
big.
know what? Here's the other thing. I like them this week against Carolina. I don't think that puts me in any sort of unique place. That Browns game has been a trap since the day the schedule came out. And Jim Schwartz has Kyle's number. I don't understand it. I'm excited to get in to understand it, frankly. Coming off of short week, Thanksgiving week, the Browns were feisty for no good reason against a Ravens team that is a shell of its former self, but still had Lamar Jackson at quarterback.
That's just the series. I looked at the history of that series. The Browns have a history of playing that game tough.
But look at this history of Kyle Shanahan versus Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I got to think, though, the way Purdy played, the way Shanahan, the way they looked the last time there, that they're going to, circle that one and fire.
I would hope that it's such an obvious trap game. I would hope it's such an obvious trap game that they can't fall for it. Like,
I mean, I think I like that. I like the Niners in this stretch right here.
Yeah.
Can the 49ers improve their defense? Is there any avenue? Somebody's like, Krug thinks they can improve their defense in week 12. LOL, Scott Schendel. I'm not saying they can. I'm saying they need to.
Yes, unquestionably.
I'm not saying that it's doable. I'm saying it needs to be done, or we're not taught. What do we have to talk about?
Right.
So I'll say this. I've been calling for Nick Martin. He played 14 snaps. He had 7 tackles and 5 solo in 14 snaps.
Yeah, he was fine. If you don't touch him, he's
but I mean 14 snaps, 7 tackles. So
well,
I mean,
where were they going?
Isn't that a cry for more snaps? Especially when Luke Gifford is standing between you and those snaps.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's got to play.
Agreed.
But I mean, I don't know. Tatum Bethune is beat up. I mean, they're
again. I didn't see much of a draw. I thought Bethune was getting way too much. Listen, tackles. I never follow tackles. I follow impact. Because Tatum Bethune was like racking up tackles, so many tackles. And then it's like, yeah, and then what about all the other plays where they didn't run it directly at him? And he really wasn't closing down anything. And he was an absolute sitting duck in coverage. And I'm like, well, shit, Curtis Robinson can do that. And he did. So, yeah, without Fred Warner, it's going to be really difficult there. D. Winters has to take his game to another level, which is a incredible challenge because he's played really, really well. But he needs to be a surefire Pro Bowler. I'll give you 3 things that they should do outside of me pretending like I know anybody on the street who can come in and help them. I need more Collins and West. I like that pairing. I like that combination. I need to see.
They don't provide any rush.
No one's getting rush. You're not. Go ahead, concede it. You have to pick one or the other. I'm going to pick the stoutness. I'm going to pick somebody who can actually hold up against.
You're not going to get any rush though out of those guys.
Okay, so then you bring in the guys rush, and guess what? The other team's rushing the other way right down your throat. So
I'm just saying. I mean, that's. I agree with you. I want to see those guys too, but you're not getting a lot of pass rush out of that. I mean,
but
they
who
got
are
to
you
find.
getting pass rush from?
I don't know, man, but they got to find something. I mean, they got to find something. I mean, you got to. I mean, you got to keep looking. Robert Beal's got a concussion. You don't
Beal's
have any good
okay,
tackles. That that can rush the passer. You got to find something. You got to look. You got to. I don't know. I mean, I don't. You're right. It's bleak, but you can't sit there and do nothing. I think you got
wartime consigliere. What do we have? What don't we have? And we can't just be hoping that someone comes in and saves you. You want to look for that. You're looking for alternatives. You're looking for upgrades. You're trying to find it. But what do we have, and how can you make the most of it? I think that putting Collins and West as your number one duo on the interior gives you the best chance of at least being sturdy on the defensive front and allowing guys behind to make plays. I think the big nickel situation that they were running with Pinnock is better. I would put Siegel back there again and play Jair Brown at the big nickel, and I would make that my base formation. I would play more Martin. I would find ways to make Martin a gadget player, and if that means a 5-man front on a Sam over where you're just praying that they pass the ball, so be it. But you got to get creative, and he is athletic. You don't have a lot of dudes who you're bringing up through you're not finding dudes with that kind of athleticism to just throw in there. Is he totally susceptible in everything else? Absolutely. You got to live with the risk because, again, what's the downside? If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get burned for 35 points a game. You might as well try something new, and maybe you still get burned for 35 points a game, but at least it's an air of commission. So more Martin. I want West and Collins in the middle, and I think Big Nickel needs to be the base. That's where I stand.
Good luck stopping the run. I mean,
they did stop the run pretty well with Pinnock, actually.
I know. I mean, that was in a limited sample size, but I just think that Big Nickel is death against the run.
Well, I'll tell you what's definitely death against the run is playing Luke Gifford, because the Rams. I mean, I regret deeply not bringing in my binoculars because I have the little monocular, but I should have brought my big ones. I have a big ass pair of binoculars that can see nose hairs from across the field. And I regret not bringing them to the game against the Rams. And I certainly regret not in the moment thinking, I'm just going to watch McVay, because I'm sure he was just standing there salivating every time 57 went on the field, because to a snap, they went after him. If he was on the field, they threw it against him. If he was on the field, they ran it against him. They didn't care. He's a sitting duck. He's a good special teamer, though he missed 2 tackles in the last game on special teams. I'm not saying he's some scrub. He was brought in to be a special teamer. Anything from scrimmage is kind of a cry for help. You can't play him anymore. And if that means you're going to be lighter in the box, so be it. Because, he's heavy. Yeah, but he's not good. He can't do anything for you. He helps you in no way from scrimmage. Stop playing him from there.
All right, let's finish up with our supers here. Yeah. Let's see. We're brought to you, of course, by Habbas Law. 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. HabbasLaw.com on the web. Thanks to Habbas Law for being rooted here in the community. If you need someone in your corner, call the law firm insurance companies. Hope you never call. That's Habbas Law. They will fight to make it right. Visit them on the web at HabbasLaw.com, HabbasLaw.com. And thanks to Habbas Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. We really appreciate Habbas Law. One of the things I love the most about Habbas Law is definitely how rooted Habbas Law is in the community. And I just think that's really cool. And I just want to mention one thing here. They have an initiative coming up right now where they're working with Martha's Kitchen. The holidays, it's a tough time of year for a lot of people. For a lot of people, food and shelter are not a guarantee. 1 in 3 people struggle to afford food. Thousands live without shelter, families in crisis, kids going to bed hungry. It's a rough world for a lot of people, especially during the holidays. And the Niner faithful always show up when it matters most, and our community needs that same heart and same approach. And this November, join Habbas Law supporting Martha's Kitchen. Martha's Kitchen serves over 200,000 meals every month to people who need hope. Let's feed more than ourselves this holiday season. Visit marthas-kitchen.org and donate today. Once again, marthas-kitchen.org. And I totally get it, guys. If you're not in position to help, I totally get it. And it's just, but if you are in position to help and you can, man, that would be fantastic. Marthas-kitchen.org. Any donation at all of any size would be appreciated. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show and everything that we do. But thanks to Habbas Law, because they are rooted in the community. They do care about these types of initiatives. I'm really proud to be associated with them because of these initiatives. So thank you to Habbas Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show and doing these great things for our community. All right, let's hit our supers and we'll bolt. We've got 14 in the house here, so let's roll through them. DeBiggs has learned that the defense is bad. No pass rush. Yeah. We called this, what did we learn from the big win? Yeah, the defense is bad. The defense is really bad. I mean, that Arizona team is not good. I mean, and you're sitting there watching Jacoby Brissett set records. I mean, it was like, you got to be kidding me. James Ace's defense can't stop anything. Carolina should put up 400 yards.
Yeah, it's Carolina.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. It's game to game. Noam Mazan says, woke to my favorite pod of the week. I'm from
I think that's Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv.
I think that's the abbreviation for Tel Aviv.
There you go.
It would make sense because it's probably daytime there.
Noam, welcome aboard. I'm glad that we are your favorite pod of the week. And
is that is that $6.90 American, or is that like Israeli money? I don't know what the conversion rate is.
Yeah,
there.
What's the conversion rate there? Is it possible that he just gave us a mint and we don't realize it?
Hey, now.
Stefan says Franklin Myers, who's with Denver, or Travis Jones, I think he's with Baltimore, would be solid pickups this offseason. Need more pass rush on the D line to pair with these rookies. Drop Givens, drop Kalia Davis. Franklin Myers will provide that pass rush. Travis Jones is a doorstop. He's not. He's just a big, huge 330. You're talking about Travis Jones is the guy who used to play at Connecticut, I think. Just a gigantic body two-gapper.
They don't do that. Also, I'm pretty sure. Well, I guess
Franklin Myers is good. I like.
He's a free agent. Can't believe
Franklin
that.
Myers. Yeah. He's a good player.
I will say I'm not sure that the Niners are going to be too keen to be signing 29-year-old, well run through defensive tackles. Hasn't really worked out in the past for them.
No, this is a draft deal. You got to find these guys in the draft most likely. DeBig says, so who's our kicker the next few weeks? Well, we'll tell you by Thursday.
Hopefully tomorrow or Wednesday, but what day is it?
Wimpy from the Popeyes from Popeye used to say, I will gladly pay you on Tuesday. Do you ever watch Popeye as a kid?
It was available to me. I didn't watch it.
Okay, so the funny thing, it's funny how these cartoons are funny for their old school. So the guy Wimpy, who's the fat guy who I'll gladly pay you on Tuesday. And he always had in his back pocket, I always thought that was a newspaper. Buddy of mine explained it to me. He's like, no. Wimpy was carrying the racing form in his back pocket, and he will gladly pay you on Tuesday because they don't race on Tuesdays. And that is the origin of I will gladly pay you on Tuesday.
That's interesting. That's really good.
I thought that was interesting too. Tangy said, what does it say? Angel Dorks have hot dogs.
Hey, it's worth $10, man. You just move on.
Is that anal? Oh,
I think it's anal dorks have hot dogs. I'll say this: Costco hot dogs.
Yeah.
Not.
What about
just unbelievable? 10 out of 10. No notes on Costco hot dogs.
That's a genius. It's a genius. Costco hot dogs are what we call a loss leader.
That's right.
Right. They make them $1.50 to bring a bunch of people in the.
That's the reason they put the milk in the back, baby. And I'll say this.
Why is that? Wait, why do they put the milk in the back?
They put the milk in the back so most people go to get eggs and milk at the grocery store. That's the thing you have to run out to get. You have to now walk through the entirety of the grocery store. We live in a time of social engineering, Larry, and loss leaders and milk in the back. There might be an actual term for it. It's fine. Your phone is here to addict you, and luckily you're addicted to us. So thanks for watching.
Well, there's a lot of people, though. I'll tell you, Costco, there's a whole, it's really kind of sad. The people it's not the most nutritious meal, that's for sure. A hot dog, but you know what, $1.50, and you see families in there, and it's like, you know what? They got a tight budget. And they're trying to get by. I totally feel their
I do it
feel
too.
their crunch.
You'd have a tight budget too if you had to shop generally at Costco. Jesus Christ.
I'd have a tough budget if it wasn't for this YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Faithful to the Bay. Larry, what smooth line did you use to pick up your wife? What? I saw this one earlier and I'm like, this isn't a super, but I got to go to it. I don't have a smooth line. My wife was a friend of my sister from college, and she had called my parents' house to ask for my sister. And I just, I picked up the phone and I said, hello.
So
she said, is Jen there? I said, no, Jen's not here right now. And I said, who is this? And she said, this is Amy. This is her friend. And, super cocky Krug dropped this one on her. Oh, hey, how you doing? When are you going to come to the city and go out to dinner with me?
Nice. There it is. That's a pretty smooth line.
And she said, well, I didn't, you've never asked. And then I said, well, I'm asking. And that was it. That was it. When are you going to come out? When are you going to come out to the city and have dinner with me? And it worked. It worked. 25 years later, 25 years later. We got married in 26 years later.
There you go.
We're still together and 4 kids and whatever. Look at us.
Made it count.
We made it work. We got this one. We got that one. We got this one right here.
We should end it on that one.
I know. We got this one. Larry, don't need words. Women chose him. Well, thank you.
True.
Thank you, Half-Dead. I appreciate that.
Women
Appreciate
want him,
the support.
men want to be him.
Josh B., you're up 25 with 8 minutes and 28 seconds left. It's a 4-possession game. Get Garendo, Watkins, Rob, Mack, etc. Jacob, Brisket, Brissett wasn't coming back. Don't be Dan Quinn. I kind of agree. It's like, come on, Kyle. Get your guys off the field. But you know what Kyle brought up today when we asked him about it? He brought up that Detroit game, Dieter, where they had a lead and then almost lost it, and he's got the battle scars, and you can kind of tell. He's thinking about that game.
He might never adapt, but he never forgets.
Seriously, he's got the mind of an elephant. Tommy Colby, Larry, Iggy, it's Grant, and his dad, it's Lowell, said today the Niners could have played Brock last week against the Rams, but wanted a more desirable situation. Thoughts? Well, Shanahan said as much as that, right? I mean, he basically said Brock could have come back last week, but we didn't want to subject him to that. And I think what he meant was the Rams and their D-line, and I think he wanted a softer landing spot.
Also just want an extra week,
Yeah, an extra week. Yeah, that's probably as much of it.
Never a good time.
Stefan says Jokic MVP this year.
It's going to be a hell of a race.
Who else would you? Who?
I mean, Shea.
Who's he going to beat out? Oh, Shea. Gilgeous Alexander.
They're unbelievable.
To my Warrior friends who think the Warriors are going to win it all.
Who said that? Come on.
Well, there were people that were like talking about the finals after the first week, and I'm like, dude, let's watch 20 games. What I meant to say is let's watch 6 games.
Thunder are going to win 74 games this year and coast. The only team that can beat them is Denver.
Yeah, nobody's beating, and the Warriors are not beating anybody. DeBig says looking forward to see what Curtis Rourke brings to this team. Do you think Curtis Rourke's going to be a good NFL player? What do you think?
I think that he'll be a good backup.
You think he tops out as a backup? You think that's what he is? I don't know. I didn't see a lot of Rourke at Indiana, and what I did see, I didn't think like, wow, this guy's awesome or anything.
Yeah, let's just say that they upgraded the quarterback with Mendoza, which I could have told you. I was the first one on Mendoza, and I'm going to take the credit for it.
I did not see the genius of Mendoza. Sharp details. Defense can't be any worse. Only up from here. Well,
buddy, let me tell you, they absolutely can be worse. Try no turnovers.
I know. Try no Arizona. Yeah. Stefan, we would have been favorites with the 2023 injury luck.
Probably.
Yeah. Probably. Papa J, Larry, come and make an appearance on Wolfie's show.
Don't know what that is.
Don't know what that is either.
Send more money. He might do it.
Tell Wolfie to get a hold of me, and we'll see. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're inside of 2 hours, which beats last week, because last week we were over 2 hours. Dieter, I'll give you the final word. What do you got cooking the rest of the week? Or have you started to get into the draft guide? I know you guys do the draft guide.
I literally started building out the database today. I have 386 players ready to plug in, Larry.
I'm telling you, I found a guy the other day that I really love.
Who you got?
That I think is really, really good. Let me see if I can call it up here.
His name is Fernando Mendoza.
No, what do the Niners? What do the Niners need?
Well, they need a tremendous amount of things. I would say beef up front.
They need beef up front. They need an offensive tackle.
Offensive tackle. Okay.
I've got an offensive tackle that I really like, and here he is. And he's a redshirt junior, so that generally means that he's what? That he's coming out.
He can.
If he's good.
Most
of the redshirt juniors come out, right? Or no?
Depends. Yeah, probably.
Here it is. I'll share the screen. This is the guy that I'm enamored with right now. Emil Wagner. I don't know if you've heard of this guy.
I have.
He's the redshirt junior offensive tackle for Notre Dame. He's 6'6", 300 pounds. He's from Ohio, went to Wayne High School in Ohio. I just like this kid. He's got really athletic. He's tough, smart. He seems like a really good prospect. There's other, I also like Jennings Dunker from Iowa quite a bit. He's kind of a throwback, and I really kind of like Caden. I like Caden Proctor because I love him. Just a massive Proctor. He's just so huge. To me, Bama's got 3 or 4 guys that I really like. I love the running back Jam, and I love Hermie, or is it Hermie or no? What's the receiver? Bama's got a receiver who's really really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bama to me looks good, but I like Emil Wagner, the offensive lineman from Notre Dame.
Make sure he's on the list.
Yeah, check him out. Check him out. All right, Dieter, what do you tell us? Promote anything you have to promote before we bolt for the door.
Dieter and Hutch, Thursday, Tuesday, Sundays after games, or Mondays after games. Who's to say? NFL schedule, never ending, and then I'm on 6 to 10 a.m. on the Leader next week.
Nice. All next week?
Yeah, well, until Thanksgiving.
Okay, nice. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle. Thanks to Habbas Law. And thanks to all of you. Have a great night. For Dieter, I'm Larry. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.